there is sensitivity training from the day you start the academy. One of the things we tell them is, listen, you're going to be working with people that you're not familiar with. You're going to be working with lots of different cultures. And so one of the things I have to give a lot of credit to, we have a senior trainer, Officer Robert Ficklin, who will play the role. And I mean, he really gets into it. He's cursing you out. He's animated, hands all over the place. And, you know, we help them to understand that sometimes you're going to approach someone who wants nothing to do with you. Sometimes the person has a negative view of police. Sometimes their experience with a police officer has been bad, and now they view you as being the next representative of that experience. So we help them to understand that, listen, everyone is not going to bow down to you and do exactly what you say. Person may be having a bad day. Person may not like police. Person's culture may be different, that when you're speaking to them, maybe they aren't looking you in your eyes. That doesn't mean they're guilty. Maybe their culture is disrespectful for you to look them in the eyes or look them in the face. We try to teach them these different things while incorporating tactics at the same time, trying to help them to understand that if you're approaching someone, you want to take officer safety into consideration. Make sure the person doesn't have their hands in their pockets. If they do have them in their pockets, explain to them, sir, ma'am, I need you to take your hands out of your pockets for your safety, for mine. Make sure that you take up a position that if you need to seek cover, you can. Make sure your hands are up above your chest so that if they swing at you or come at you, you can defend yourself. Try to create distance and time, and always try to verbalize what you're doing and why. And when it comes to use of force, there is a use of force continuum. The first level of that use of force is your very presence. People act differently because you are a police officer and you're in a uniform, you have a gun, a badge, and you represent something larger than yourself. And so that is the first level of force, and then verbal commands, and then hands-on, and then use of the equipment on your belt, pepper spray, your baton, to your taser, and ultimately the last level of force is deadly force. So there are a lot of steps, which is one of the reasons I think that recent events are so troubling for many people, is they feel like many of those steps were skipped. But there's definitely training from day one. There's training in what we call in-service training, which is done on a yearly basis for all officers throughout the department. And anytime force is used, if I stop you, I pat you down, I cuff you, we get into a scuffle, I have to pepper spray you, there is a form that is required for us to fill out. A supervisor has to respond to the scene. They have to evaluate whether it was the appropriate use of force. That form then goes to 3 different directions as checks and balances within the department, goes to internal affairs, it goes to patrol, and it also goes to the academy, so that we can see, was there a violation of law or general orders within the department? Was the training adequate, or does the officer need some additional training? And also, the patrol supervisor needs to know when his officers are using force. Are we deploying tasers on a regular basis? And if so, why? And do we need to change our tactics or address the situation so that we can have a reduction in this? We always are trying to use the least amount of force as possible for the public safety and for our officers' safety. Because when you start using a lot of force, the public can get hurt, and so can the officers.